Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to do a pink Valentine's Day set. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially subscribe, you guys. We're less than 40 away from the giveaway. So I'm going to use this really beautiful glitter I got from my local nail supply. The tips are extra long, C-curve, no C-curve, coffin tips from Amazon, some dried flowers from Amazon. This colored foil is from Nails by Dev, some Not Polish Clear, some Extra Kiss by Not Polish, and this really beautiful glitter from Dynamic Nail Supply. So getting started here, I don't know, sometimes these are called junk nails, but for me it's kind of how I freestyle anytime. I've mentioned before, I'll just go through my glitter drawer or whatever and just pile things on that I think look good together. So that's what this set is. So right here, first of all, I had way too much coffee. If you notice the ridiculous shaking, it does go away after a little while here. So sorry about that. I've mentioned before as well that I am impatient. So I went ahead and got the glue out when this flower wasn't sticking down as well as I wanted. Naturally, as soon as I glued it and held it down with my brush, it ripped a piece of the flower off. So I left all that in because I want you guys to know that that's fine. You know, unless it rips like the main part of your design off, don't worry. Just put a little glitter or a leaf or something in like I show you here. One thing that's hard about doing this kind of set, you have to think about while you're doing it. It's really easy to get your eyes and brain and thoughts and creativity really deep inside what you're actually doing. So like, I'm going to put this leaf here, and next I'm going to spray this glitter all along here. And as you're adding things to the nail, you're definitely not thinking about your shape, right? You're just thinking about where you're going to be placing things and how to get them on there. So a little tip to think about is to work in small pieces, small areas, so that you can maintain your shape, because this type of nail can get really bulky and funny looking very quick. The more you're putting things on, especially if you're using clear acrylic to add those things. Sometimes I pick items up with just a wet brush, and sometimes I'll put a bead of clear down and then add it. Sometimes I'll pick up a bead of clear and then pick up the item like glitter. So it just depends on what I'm working with, how I do that. Right here, I didn't like this glitter, so I took it off all but one piece. But keep your shape in mind while you're working, and then you won't have a super thick nail. The reason I say that is because if you have made a large hump in one area of your nail because you've been putting on clear and dabbing on this glitter and that leaf, etc., you're going to have to either stop, wait for it to dry, file that down, and then continue the rest of your nail, or you're going to have to build up your nail to that thickness that you just made, and you're going to end up with a huge nail or a lot of filing. So, and I'm saying that obviously because I learned the hard way. I also left this in. My nail room was the right temperature. My products were the right temperature. This is a not polished product. It was the very first bead I ever used of it, besides swatching it. I did my normal liquid to powder ratio. So I'm not sure why this acrylic color specifically was quite runny. I almost lost, well, I did lose control of it. I got it back under control, but that was a normal cuticle bead for the thumb. So I'm just not sure why that happened, but I started working with it a little bit drier, and I think I added a little bit of the Kiara Sky monomer enhancer, because when I'm working with it, when I'm experiencing that with a product, that's typically what I do, and that helps a lot. If you guys don't have any of that, go get it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on the Kiara Sky website. I think you can get it at Nail Company Wholesale Supply as well. It's only $20, sometimes cheaper if you have a coupon code or a sale. It's magic in a bottle. I really like that stuff. So I have mentioned this before too. I would like to do a video, and I'm probably just going to go out to my nail room and do it right now today, and swatch all of the clears that I have in my collection with their matching monomers and with different monomers, just on white paper or colored paper. I want to do an experiment with clears, because the last time I did it, just kind of by accident, because I was like basically swatching clears. I know that sounds weird, but I had noticed when I did a flower set on a practice hand that the next day when I looked at the nails, they were yellow. And it was Young Nails, Speed Clear that I had been using. And I thought, well, that's super strange. Was it my temperature, my monomer, my liquid to powder ratio? Like, what could have caused that? So I did a little swatch with clears, and I was really surprised by the results. So I'm gonna do that and post it as soon as I can get it up. I don't think I'll do a voiceover or edit it. I think I'll just wing it. That makes it much quicker to post. But I want you guys to notice right here. Do you see that since this was a flower nail, I've also mentioned before many times on my channel, I don't like using clear unless I have to, like for encapsulation. But I don't like building the structure of my nail. A lot of times you'll see people using a very thin layer of colored acrylic and then building their nail shape, apex, structure, strength, everything with clear. I like to do that with my colored acrylics, but sometimes when you're doing a nail like this, it has to be clear. You have to encapsulate your items, and the rest of your shape and buildup has to come from clear. Like right here where I'm filling in that apex. If I didn't put that bead of clear there, my nail would have had a big old dip in it. So I had to put it there. Do you see how it's cloudy? You can literally see it. And I thought, well, of course, as soon as I file and as soon as I put on that top coat, that beautiful reveal, that will go away. Well, it didn't. I spent all the time putting all those beautiful flowers and glitters. I mean, that was going to be a very pretty nail. And so were the other nails. I was very disappointed in this set because they all came out murky and creamy looking, like as if I had used a cloudy color instead of crystal clear. That was not polished clear with Young Nails monomer. And you just can't even see the design I did under there. And I couldn't have gone any thinner with the clear because, again, I had to build the shape and I had to cover it. So I'm going to do a little experiment, and I'm going to only be using the clearest clear I get out of my experiment, and I will share that with you guys. I kind of know the answer because the last time I did it, my top two were there, so I don't really know why I have this big 4-ounce clear of Not Polishes, because Not Polish was number 4 or 5 in the list. You know how I feel about Not Polish, you guys, but their clear is not crystal clear. I don't know why, if it's me. It's fine just for capping. Like if you have put some glitter on your nail and you're going to just put one bead on it to cover it up so you don't file it off, that's fine. But when you need to build a nail, as I learned here, I was just really, really, really disappointed because all the time and effort to make these nails, just makes me mad. So while I'm building this nail, I learned a couple things too. Number one, you can see if I'm looking at it from the side profile, it looks very out of shape and strange. Well, that's because I have to have an apex there. And so obviously I'm gonna have to build the rest of my nail with color and clear, but that's why that big hump was there. Also, this colored bead, this was supposed to be an ombre where you can see the glitter. I'm sure you've seen this design before, and I've done it before too on a client. But I forgot about having to build the rest of my apex and shape there. So I had to keep putting more, a little more pink on. I should have started the pink down lower because you can't see very much of this glitter. So that was another mistake I felt I made here. A couple other learning errors I had along the way on this set. Can't remember now. So you guys, let me know if you have found the perfect clear that's actually really crystal clear. So when you have a nail like this one, where you're just going to add some dried flowers to the nail, I would suggest working with kind of a dry bead. If you notice when I put that bead on, it was pretty dry, and that is so that it doesn't, first of all, go running off, because the product, the glitter, the flowers, whatever you're putting there, you want it to stay there. If you put a runny bead, it's going to run off the nail, and then you're going to be chasing it. As you can see, you kind of have to chase it anyway, because every time you manipulate and move your bead around, that item is going to move as well. So use kind of a drier bead. That's why it was pretty dry when I put it on there. If you're working with a good product, as soon as you add a little monomer, it just starts working. Also, that little bit that's sticking out there, when it didn't lay down right away and started lifting up the other side, that's another thing that you'll learn when you start encapsulating things. What I do in this case is I will get the object, the flower, the glitter, whatever it is, in the position where it's not ruining my shape. So you can see I have the flowers where I want it. Yeah, there's a couple little pieces sticking out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep building my nail, and I'm going to keep paying attention to my shape. Whatever's left at the end, if I'm able to encapsulate it without ruining my shape, later on, after I've finished nail and I'm doing like my final encapsulation, then we're good. If a little bit of it sticks out, it gets filed off. I think I've mentioned that in another one of my videos. But don't hold yourself up in that area and agonize over it and push it down, and because then you're going to have a dry bead that's lumpy. And I've just learned over time that basically walk away. Just walk away from it. It'll be fine. And as you see here, it does end up working out. I didn't have to file it off. But as you build your nail doing other things, usually something like that will just go away. It'll get covered up. Plus, before you start doing these kind of nails, I remembered the other mistake that I made. I'll tell you in a second. When you're doing these kind of nails, usually, like I showed at the beginning, I had my little trays of things I'm going to use. Usually you have your flowers cut and like sized anyway, so you probably aren't working with something that's too large for your nail anyway. So always do that prep before. Do a little bit of layout where you have your tips on and you're deciding which flowers are going to go where and do they fit. So always do your prep work, especially if you have a client. If you know what they're wanting, do all your setup first. It's going to shave a half an hour at least off of your time. Whenever I have a client, I don't push them about it, but I do try to get out of them what kind of set they're wanting before they come. Or I do my setup while they're choosing their colors. But the clients that I have on a regular basis, we kind of figure out what they're getting before they come the next time, so that the set we're doing now is cohesive with that. So I don't have to do a total soak off. Like, we're going to do a red Valentine set today, and in 2 weeks when you come, you want something clear. No, we're going to do that reverse. We're going to do your clear nails today and your Valentine set, on top of the clear, so we don't have to soak you off and damage your nails and all that. So there's planning involved. So what I'm getting at is plan. So this nail here was similar to my index finger, where I put some flowers, some glitter, some hearts, and some foil. But I thought this one was so pretty. I just thought it came out so much better and easier. I don't know if you noticed, it just went on easier than the other one. You can see from the side view how much clear I'm going to have to put on to build the shape, right? And you'll see when I'm finished that they're not overly thick at all. They're still nice and narrow and just the right shape. So I don't know why, literally you cannot see the design that I put under there. The clear blurs it all out, and I'm just so disappointed in that. So the other mistake that I made was in having all those little trays of items I was going to be using, and foil and glitter and all the other stuff that I had on my table in my workspace that I was using. I didn't think about it until I watched the video back, but your camera, when you're recording, your camera is going to grab and focus on whatever it's grabbing and focusing on. So I learned not to keep those things, even if I need them within reach, in my work area, or my camera is going to not focus on the nail. It might focus on the little tray that's in the back there. So that was the other mistake I made. So let's watch this. You guys tell me if you think, A, my beads were too thick, too runny. what could I have done differently to not make these nails so cloudy? So I'm using Young Nails monomer, Not Polish clear, and I'm encapsulating these items as well as making my nail shape. You can see here that I think that probably has a little too much clear on it. I know I put too much clear on the pinky, but if you notice that pinky, the reason I did that is because two reasons. One, do you see how narrow and tiny that nail is? It was, I knew I had to build it up because it was just so tiny, number one. Number two, what was the number two? Oh, it's a pop-off method, and I needed it to kind of have its shape so I didn't have to do too much filing. I don't know if you guys ever file your own pinky nail, especially if they're really long like these. It just becomes painful. So I just wanted to make the nail the shape that it was going to be and try not to file it. And I ended up screwing that up by putting on too much clear. But if you can see still in the frame, the ring finger, I don't think it's too bulky. I don't think there's way too much clear on it. I think it looks just how it should look, except that clear is cloudy, just flat out. And frankly, just pissed me off. It ruined my entire design. And now, of course, I want to do another set with a different clear to see how it works out. So you guys might see that coming up. Maybe I'll use some different colors or whatever, but I'm going to try it again, some flower nails. If you guys look on my channel, like on my Instagram, I have lots of sets of, well, I had one client, he was coming every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks he wanted a different color flower set. So his nails would be totally clear with yellow flowers this time. 2 weeks he would come back and they would still be totally clear, but all of his flowers would be blue. This week, red, yellow. So he wanted to go through like every color flower. So there are a lot of flower sets on my channel, and all of them are super clear. And I know what clear I used for that. So I know what clear I will be using next time. And I know the result of my little experiment I'm going to do. So I will key you guys in on that for sure. I don't know if you guys have been noticing as I'm putting these beads on, but Not Polish colored acrylics, you know, they're buttery. They don't marble, top notch. I talk about it all the time. They're my favorite. I don't know if you notice at all that when you place a bead of, and I don't know again on what it depends on, because you could put down black or dark purple and it doesn't do this, but you might be able to tell here. But basically any of the beads I've placed today, you can see that there's a tendency to marble. As soon as you put that bead down, you're like, ooh, is that going to marble? So I don't want you to worry about that with Not Polish. If you buy any, if you see that marbling, as soon as you put it down, you don't have to blend it. You don't have to tap it. I think that's just the nature of acrylic and pigments and things being mixed in. You're going to see that little bit of color separation. In Not Polish's case, it's not marbling. It goes away instantly as soon as you start moving that bead around. I notice it with like Nude Panther, some of their nudes, so it doesn't even have to be like a darkly pigmented color. It's probably just part of whatever magic they put in there that makes it look like that. But I don't want you to shy away from it, because I used to do that. I would watch V or Tao, Tao from Not Polish. She used to do a lot of YouTube tutorials. They're still up. She just hasn't done any for a while, but I would sometimes see them putting down a bead and think, whoa, holy smokes, that Not Polish is marbling. And so I'd be a little bit leery. Well, I'm not going to buy any of the nudes because look at that. And then boom, of course, their sets would come out perfect. And I would think, well, maybe it's just something off camera that they're doing that I don't see, or, they're pros. There's some trick they're doing I don't know about, but I'm not going to waste my money on that color because I can see it marbled. Well, it's just not true. So take it from my experience. Don't worry about pulling the trigger on buying any of the colors that you want. It's not going to be an issue. So if you see that even on my channel, like this color did a little bit, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not doing anything off camera, because I really did think that. I really thought there was some trick that they must have known that I didn't. until I started buying the product, and then I was like, whoa, this is just magic. I know I say magic a lot. This color, okay, so Lisa Marie from Nail to the Hustle turned me on to Dynamic Nail Supply. I talk about Not Polish all the time. She talks about on her channel how she has a specific consistency that she likes in her acrylics. And she likes them buttery, like not polish. She's not interested in spending not polished money. She just is not. She had a bad experience with a mystery box as well. I think a lot of people did last year, unfortunately. I'm sure Not Polish will fix that. They're a great company. But she told me, and of course, she has it on her channel a lot too, $6 acrylics, $4 acrylics. And she made the claim on one of her videos that Dynamic Nail Supply was the same consistency as Not Polish, but only $4 or $6 for the acrylics. And I thought, no way. Why are people spending not polished money? There's got to be, some, I don't know. So I bought about 10 or 13 of their acrylics, colored and glitters. And she's right. Their consistency is very good. Their color selection is incredible. I mean, you can get completely lost on their website. They have so many colors, so many glitters. So I would definitely recommend Dynamic Nail Supply as well. Thank you, Lisa. And this is a stunning, stunning color. I think I'll use it again on another Valentine's set. So I already told you that I used way too much clear on this nail. It was very, very thin, very narrow, and I thought, well, I better build it up. I have to build my whole shape. But really, I should have only used about 2 beads, so trial and error. And you can already see with the glitter, I probably put too much glitter on too. The shaping's already getting a little strange. I actually ended up being able to file it without it popping off. This set, I used 2 coats of the UNT base coat, peel-off base coat, before I glued my tips on, letting each coat air dry in between. So I don't know if that made the difference, but I was able to, I had to do it gentle and I had to pay attention to my shape, so I didn't have to do a lot of filing, but I was able to file all 5 nails, and the only one that came up during filing was my index finger. So I was happy about that. I think the next set I do, come on, Jen, that's way too much clear. Okay. Wow. I think the next set I do is going to be on my practice hand. Here's another thing that I experienced with this set. It might be hard to tell in the video, but these tips are really long. They're, I wouldn't even say triple length, because almost every tip you get nowadays, Not Polished Care Sky, they're all 3XL, right? These have to be like 4XL. They're just some little off-brand I got from Amazon. They're very narrow, very nicely shaped. It's hard for me to ever find a tip that fits my pinky, even a size 10. A lot of nail tip sets that you get nowadays only go up to 9. You can't even get a 10 sometimes. And even when you get a 10, I have to file it and clip it and everything because my pinky nail bed's really small. Anyway, this is coming to an end, so I just wanted to mention it was hard to stay in frame with these really long nails. It was hard to do my application, and I just kept having to change angles. It was hard to edit. So I'm going to show you the look and then my TikTok video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye. Like, share, subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.